Hello, all my crafty friends. Welcome to a crafter story. My name is Celeste, and today I'm gonna try and recreate what I did here. This is vellum paper that I created, and in the past I used to use coconut oil or baby oil or mineral oil, an oil of some sort, to make my vellum papers. But unless you can get all the oil off, it gets sticky after a while. It sort of has that just a sticky feeling, and it's so recently, a few months ago, I saw somebody use candle wax, and I thought, oh, okay, that'll work. So this piece of paper, this piece of vellum, that I used my paint pens and black markers on, and gold markers, and gold watercolor paint, and I did a little abstract design on here, and then I put on the wax, and I used a white tea light wax on this one. So this paper used to just be printer paper. So now I can take this and I can cut it in. I want to actually see if I can't make some little envelopes out of this. I think it'll be a really nice envelope. Maybe I could make maybe two envelopes out of this. So what I'd like to try today is beeswax. My son's got a few candles, and he gave me all the little bits that were left when they were burnt out. So I will try and do little sample pieces, because we're doing a whole page. I think would take a little bit too long, so I'm going to do little sample pieces, with the pens. I've got some tea bag stained paper, and how I do this is just take my tea bags in my morning tea that I drink, and I put my tea bag down. When it's dry, I take it off. Tomorrow morning, tea bag down. When it's dry, take it off. And so there's all these different tea bag stains on this page. This is probably about a week, 10 days worth of teas and tea bags, and depending on which side you want to use, it really comes out beautifully. It's got its really unique pattern about it. Here is some coffee stained paper with a stencil, and what I have not tried is napkins. So I've taken this napkin, I've taken the second layer backing off, and I'm going to just see what happens. So first thing you're going to need, of course, is the wax. Here's all my little bits and pieces of the beeswax, some wax paper, and something to protect your surface with. I've just got an old sheet. So I think maybe let me put my iron on, and let's see if we try this napkin first. I'm going to put that down. Let me put the iron on in the meantime. And the napkin is down. I've got to put, I've cut a few small pieces, and I probably could have cut them a bit smaller, but I'm hoping that if I just spread them out and hold the iron over them, that they will flatten out. We'll see. Okay, so I've got that, and then another piece of the wax paper, and I've got my iron setting on cotton linen, which is a higher setting. I'm just going to, oh gosh, immediately it's melting immediately. All right, so that's a good thing. Just wondering if my setting's a bit high. It's melting beautifully. Look how it's spreading already. So that's good. But I might find that my pieces are a bit big. So I might have to bring out my craft knife or a scissors and really just get these wax pieces cut a bit smaller. I guess if I grated them, that might have been it. But you know what I found with the beeswax? It's quite sticky. I guess there's a little bit of the honey still in the beeswax. This is a candle we bought at a craft store from a lady who has her own hives, and so she was harvesting her own beeswax. Why is it beeping at me? I don't know why it's beeping at me. But this is definitely working, so I'm having to be a little patient and maybe just go in one direction. I don't want to break my napkin paper because it's obviously quite a bit thinner than regular paper, but this is spreading nicely. So see if I go this way, and obviously using, once you've used your iron on something like this, it becomes your craft iron and not your clothing iron anymore, because the oiliness and the stickiness and the paint and the whatnot sticks to everything, and that'll transfer to your clothes. All right, so I think that's a sample piece. It's probably big enough. Let's see if I carefully pull my wax paper off. Okay, that looks great. So it did all melt beautifully, and while it's still wet, I'm going to pull it off the back, the bottom wax paper, because I think that when it dries, if it dries and I don't pull it off in time, that it would stick, and probably with the napkin paper it will tear. Oh yes, it immediately takes away the sort of tissue paper feel and gives it more of a picnic table tablecloth feel, and I can feel the strength there, and it's a little more see-through, but not a whole bunch, but that's definitely going to make a stronger napkin. All right, let's put that aside. Let me bring out the coffee stained paper, and I'll cut some of this in. And it's sticky. Goodness me, I guess I should have had a knife here, and a cutting board might have made more sense. All right, I think that's okay. These pieces are a little smaller than the previous one on the napkin. Let's see what happens here. We'll just do that top half. Okie dokie, artichoke. Let's see what happens. Now with the printer paper, I suspect I'm going to get the same result as I did with that abstract golden red that I showed you earlier. So let's see. It really is sticky. This is spreading so much better than the napkin paper. Do you see? Wonder why that is. Wonder if it's just because the surface is more, it's a thicker surface. I don't know, I'm making stuff up. I don't know. Oh, we have an escapee. Oh, look at that. Gorgeous. I can smell the honey. It's so nice. It really is a nice smell. Oh, what is that? It's trying to get into that corner there. And if you press down a little bit, it really does spread. So I'm just trying to get it into that corner. Come on, get into the corner, you. Okay, fine. Don't get into the corner. Okay, let's leave it there then. I'll pull it up. I can always come back and put a tiny piece of the wax there. It just would not go to that corner. But let's open this up. I think this is going to be a pretty one because of the pattern. All right, I'll put this one down to dry. I didn't bring out, all right, sorry guys, I'm coming. There we go. All right, so now we want to put down, let's do this darker side. I just love how the tea bags make their own pattern, and sometimes I look at these patterns and I think, do I see anything? You know, and sometimes I see something, and sometimes it's like a lady's head and she's standing with her arms up. And sometimes it's just paper with tea bag stains on it. Nothing super special. So, okay. Goodness gracious, this stuff is... Either my hands are not as strong as they used to be, or this stuff is dense. All right, let's try that. And to clean my scissors afterwards, I just, because it gets pretty sticky with the wax, especially this wax, I use just a bit of cotton wool and a bit of rubbing alcohol, and it takes care of it. So don't think that you are messing up your scissors, your craft knife, or whatever it is that you're using. Okay, we've got some good melting going on that side. Let's see if we can get this side done. This one's, maybe the paper is a little warmer, I'm not sure. Maybe the iron is a little warmer, but I'm getting a much better spread with a little bit of wax that I put down. You can come back and put down more wax, but over the wax that's already melted, but it does tend to crack a little bit, so don't go too thick. Thinner is better, so the more you can spread it, the better. All right, let's see what we got here. Ooh. Okay. Pull this off. Okay. So I will have to move this so that we can do some pin markings. Oh, I wonder what that look like. Should we try it? Let's try that. It's a little piece that came off a project that I was doing yesterday. I don't think I need more than 2 little pieces. I'm laughing at myself because I'm like, ooh, shiny. Ooh, another craft idea. Oh my gosh. I wrote an article because I write as well, I freelance, but I wrote an article once about creative minds never rest. I truly believe that, because I think when you think creatively, you're always coming up. It's always like, ooh, shiny. There's always something that you think, oh, I can make something with that. Like, totally change the color of this. Do you see that? It really, I was wondering if the yellow from the wax, the beeswax, would leave a yellow stain. I don't think it did. I think it just left a regular wax stain. But I have noticed that with the candles that have where they've added pigment, where it's like a black candle or a pink candle, that pigment sometimes does transfer to your paper. So try, if you don't mind that, that's fine. But if you do mind, stay away from any of the colors and just go with the whites and the paraffin. I've tried paraffin wax, I've tried honey beeswax now. I have not tried soy wax. So I think that is one that I would want to try next. I'm going to see if I can do just a little bit more on this napkin to get it down to the bottom area. And then let's see if we can make something with these pages. All right, get some. Goodness gracious. Gracious goodness. All right, maybe that's enough, eh? Okay. And once my iron is cool, completely cool and unplugged, I will clean it off with a little bit of, I've got some folding. Oh, no, oh no. Don't you fold. No, don't do that. Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, it's not a train smash, but it did fold. Let's see if I can just get it. Yikes, it's hot. Oh, well. Oh, well, it folded. It's okay. Alright, so that's nice. I've got a little extra wax on here. And maybe with the thinner papers, you do want extra wax. I don't, because it is thinner and you want that extra strength on it. As long as the wax is not too thick and you're not creating cracks when you fold it. So there we go. Okay guys, I'm going to go and rest the paper for maybe 10 minutes. Just really allow it to dry nicely and get cool. And then I will set up my station here to see if we can cut it up, make some envelopes, make some pockets, make some tags, and have some fun. Hey you guys, before I carry on, I've got the paper on the floor drying and cooling, but I wanted to show you an example just so that you feel comfortable with using your pens on the paper prior to putting the wax on. And there's some samples. This is a dollar store gold marker. This is a white Posca paint pen. This is a dollar store red permanent marker. Uniball gold gel pen. This is a Uniball black gel pen. This is a Posca paint, and this is a black Sharpie. You could use pretty much any permanent marker, any paint pen, and any gel pen, and it should work just fine. I then did go ahead and put the wax down on it, and it's not coming off, it's not rubbing off, it's not peeling, it's not chipping. So whatever design that you decide to do, like I did with this one, I even used here, these stripes are gold watercolor. So honestly, in this here is bronze watercolor. So you could use almost any medium prior to making your vellum paper. So, and you can see the difference between this one and this one. And the darker papers, like the coffee stain, you're not going to see through. It's just going to be the vellum feel. The lighter the color paper, of course, the more distinct your vellum look is. So I thought I'd just add that in. And this one's a mess, but I love it. I'm going to use it somewhere. Hey, you guys, just a quick tip that I just picked up when I have two grades of paper. I have the 28 gram and then the very more typical 20 gram printer paper. This 20 gram printer paper, when I fold it, There's a little bit of cracking where there's a fold, but nothing major, and I'm just going to put a bit of washi tape over that, and it's going to seal it in and it'll protect the fold, so that's fine. But when I folded the 28-pound paper, it looks like it's tearing the paper. So my takeaway is that the thinner paper is definitely a better way to go. But don't panic with this, because if you feel like now you've ruined it, don't worry. Just come back in with your warm iron and go over that fold, because there's enough wax there to fix the fold and flatten it out again. It's a slight fold still there, but I think I saved the paper that way. Let's do there, and that way you can now use this bigger sheet with a thicker paper as, I think this is going to be better as a tag. Folding, it's not going to work so great. So I'll put this down to cool down again. And then obviously when this thing doesn't like it when I do this, because it warps, it flattens out again. It's fine. It's not a good idea to iron on your board. Okay, so I'm going to get a couple of things together and let's make a pocket. Okay, so I decided to go ahead and just make up a mock-up of all these different things that I talked about that you could do with the vellum paper, because the purpose of today's video was not so much to make envelopes and pockets and tags and whatnot. It was more so to show you how to put the wax onto the paper and what you can put on your paper prior to putting the wax on. And we were able to determine that any kind of paint pen, permanent marker, gel pen, any of the metallic, watercolors was fine, coffee stain was fine, tea bag stain was fine. I would imagine ballpoint pen is probably fine too. All those things we were able to use on the paper prior to putting the wax, and that beeswax and paraffin wax are great. I haven't tried the soy wax. But when I go to clean my iron, I got a little distracted earlier. But when I was like, oh, shiny, and got this little guy done, I turn the heat down on my iron, and then with some paper towel, I just clean off as much of the wax as I possibly can. I don't want to put any solvents on. I'm a little afraid that I might blow something up. So I just, while it's got on low heat, just wipe it as clean as you can. So these two were made with a 20-gram printer paper. This was made with a 28-gram printer paper. And I will start maybe with showing you the little pocket that I made with the napkin paper. And I don't think this is something that I will use in my journals, and it's just because I don't think it's robust enough. I think it's a single use, maybe in a card, maybe just putting money in here or a gift card in here or a little private note in here and giving it to somebody, and maybe if I hadn't tried to stitch it, maybe it would have a bit more, maybe a longer life, but I don't think it's got longevity in a journal. That's just me. It didn't hold up very well with the sewing. It kind of started pulling apart. So I think it's really, really pretty, but it's probably not something I'm going to revisit. If you guys have any ideas of how you think you might be able to strengthen this, maybe I shouldn't have taken off the backing. Maybe I should have left it as a double ply. Maybe I should try that, but for now, this one will get put aside. Going down our track, the 28-gram paper, when I fold it, it tears. And I don't know if it's because the paper is thicker and then putting the wax on, which also makes it thicker, is the problem. I don't know. Maybe I put too much wax on. but I just decided to embrace the tear and just let it tear. And instead of trying to make a pocket, I made a tag, and I was able to get all those really lovely rough edges on it. I was able to use a straight stitch on just around like that. It was an afterthought, and that's why it's not across here. I was able to put an eyelid in, punch a hole. I've got some rub-on stickers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rub-on stickers here that work just great. Despite the wax film that's on this paper, the rub-on stickers went on beautifully, no problem. I want to say one thing about the straight stitch. It was harder to do a straight stitch and to push it through the machine than it was to do the zigzag. The zigzag just, no problem. The straight stitch was it was a bit of a, it didn't come out evenly. I don't mind too much, but it's just, that's what happened. One of the pieces that came off this sheet, I decided to use over here, and I just used some Fabri-Tac, put it down on some cardstock, and I've got some lace and string next to it. It's going to be a side pocket in a journal. Now, before putting the wax on here, my paper looked like this. You know, I had my drawings on here with my paint pens and my markers and my whatnot, and then only did I go and iron on the wax, which then completely changes, it even changes the color of the paper, I would say. So this is now that side. This is now my little vellum pocket there, compared to what the paper looked like prior to the putting on the wax. So there's this little pocket that I made and sewed. I was able also to come in with my ink dauber, just regular stamping ink, and age up the edges. There I've got a little border of gold ink on the side there. That's nice. This was a straight stitch. It challenged me, but I got the straight stitch in, and also just came in and aged it, so that's great. And then with these guys, I decided that everywhere where there was a fold, or where I felt like there was going to be a lot of handling, I was going to put some washi tape, and I used my stick glue. Put down some glue, put down some washi, and I sewed it with a zigzag. I've got some washi down there that I sewed over as well, which I think looked quite nice. And now it's going to be a little pocket in a journal. So that came out very, very nicely. I punched a hole there and then put this tin can tab over it. It's been secured with Fabri-Tac. And this is just a little bit of raggedy, which we call the stuff raggedy yarn, that I will use as a tie. And there we go. And so I made a long pocket, then cut it in half, and this is the other half, and it looks slightly different. Only you'll notice that the washies are the same. The only difference is the color of the tie down and the little clasp, but otherwise essentially same little pocket. This one seems a little narrower. You know me, guys, I can't count to save my life, so I probably counted wrong when I halved it. 1 + 1 is 11, right? I'm sure it's 11. Okay, so there are the examples of what you could do with your vellum paper once you've put down the wax. And honestly, there's so much that you could do. I used paraffin tea light. I used some, not today, but on another one. And then today we used the beeswax. I have not tried the soy wax, so that would be a next one for me to try. But you can do whatever you like. If you have any ideas, and feel free to share them in the comments below, or come and show us pictures on our Facebook page. The link is in the description below. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.